pantry, so Lady knew it was night, but she wasn't sure why that meant she had to leave her new family. As they put a big dog bed down in the middle of the pantry, Lady wiggled in Darling's arms. "There, there, Lady," Darling said. Lady knew she was trying to make her feel better, but she didn't like the looks of the pantry door. A moment later, Jim Dear put a few pieces of newspaper down and gave her a pat on the head, and then they turned and left. The door shut behind them. Lady was alone. She stood still for a moment, looking from the bed to the newspaper to the heavy door. Letting out a little yip, she rushed at the paper and grabbed it between her teeth, shaking it. A puppy growl formed in the back of her throat. The noise she made startled her, and Lady dropped the paper. She moved to the door and shoved her nose against it. It didn't budge. She pushed again. This time the door swung a little bit. She pushed again and again until the door swung wide enough that she could slip through, out of the pantry. Wandering the house, she sniffed and nosed a pair of shoes on the floor. She hopped over a guitar. Then finally, she made it to the stairs. Lady looked up. The stairs were long. She hadn't noticed that before. But she had to get up them. At the top were Darling and Jim Dear. Taking a deep breath, Lady put both her front paws on the bottom stair. Then she pushed off with her back paws. She hung for a moment and then fell back to the floor. She wagged her puppy tail and tried again. She made it. Step by step, Lady worked her way to the top. By the time she reached the landing, she was out of breath. She had not been upstairs before. The hallway was dark and narrow, with several doors. Putting her nose to the ground, Lady followed the smell of lavender. Walking through an open door, she saw Darling and Jim Dear asleep on a bed. She made her way to it and jumped up, then flopped down on Darling's stomach. Murmuring, Darling rolled over, the movement landing Lady right atop Jim Dear's face. Startled, the man woke up. Seeing Lady, he sighed. But he did not, as she'd feared, take her back downstairs. Instead, he arranged a makeshift bed on the floor. He placed her down on it and crawled back into bed. Lady waited a moment, then jumped off her bed and back onto the human's bed. It was much more comfortable. Darling wrapped her arms around Lady and pulled her close. Next to her, Jim Dear sighed again. "All right," he said, his voice heavy with sleep. "Just for one night." Lady wiggled happily, pushing her body as close to Darling as she could. She closed her eyes. She didn't know what a Christmas miracle was exactly, but Darling had called her one several times. Whatever it was, she was glad she was one. Lady's one night turned into two, and then two more, and then two more. Soon 6 months had passed, and Lady was as much at home in the bed and house as Jim Dear and Darling. Her life had taken on a lovely routine. In the morning, she collected the paper from the end of the walk and promptly returned it to Darling. After a quick breakfast, Lady and Jim Dear took a stroll down the tree-lined street. If Jim Dear happened to forget, Lady had no problem reminding him. Leash in her mouth, she gave a quick bark and a wag of her tail, and Jim Dear was on his feet and heading for the door. Afternoons were spent exploring the yard. There was always something to see. A butterfly floating through the air in a zigzag pattern, a newly blossomed flower. Most days, Jim Dear took time to bring her a small, round ball, which he threw to her endlessly. She loved that game, especially because whenever she brought the ball back, she got a happy, "Good girl, Lady." Those were some of her favorite words. When evening came around and dinner was over, she, Darling, and Jim Dear curled up on the couch together while the humans read or listened to the radio. Lady fell asleep to Darling's gentle touch as she gave her belly rubs, and to the sound of Darling's soft voice as she told Jim Dear about her day. Life was perfect.